Hi, prayer warriors. Welcome to another session of the Breeze Prayer Network. I hope you all are enjoying this wonderful day. We are in full force, and I am very, very excited. I enjoy the leaves, the colors, and things like that. So, just really enjoying this time of year. Today, I wanted to come in and speak to you all about seeing through surface level, past surface level. If you go back to some of my previous videos, there was one particular one on discernment that you may want to go back and watch. Again, if you haven't yet watched it, you then watch it for the first time. And it basically talks about the importance of discernment. And so today I wanted to speak about what happens, when you don't see past surface level. And so what I'm referring to is when you meet people, things of that nature, you're out and about in this world, it's very important to look past the outward appearance and see to the heart of each individual. In my own life, I've had experiences where I have made decisions and didn't really think or really go into prayer about the individuals or places that I was dealing with to see if it was the right place for me or the right individual. And so today I'm just going to do like a story time and kind of give you guys a little, example of, what happens when you kind of size people up and look at them for surface value and not to the heart of who they really are, and just seeing if they are, on your same playing field, if they're operating at a level that you're at, and you can actually feel comfortable and confident in coming into alignment with this person or dealing with with the individual or corporation or whatever it might be. Some time ago, when I started having my family, my first son, everything, was fine. I was under the impression that, everything was normal with his pregnancy, and we, were happy, healthy baby. Everything was fine. As time went on, during this season, I believe the Lord was trying to teach me a lesson about, maybe judging people for, what I think they are, like outward appearances, things of that nature. And during that time, I was very, very, I would say, religious, judgmental type. And I would look at people for surface value. So whatever they presented themselves to me as, I would believe it because I always would do the exact same thing. When I would deal with people, I'm very, very non-pretentious. And what you see of me is what you get. So I always believed that every person out there was the same exact way, which, I had my lessons to learn that that's not always true. So during this time, I had a very, very bad experience after, having my first son, and I had a reaction to some of the birthing medication and stuff that they had given me, and I literally was paralyzed for 3 to 6 months. And so during that time, my husband and I, we were a part of a ministry, we were there. And I always believed, when people say, oh, they'll throw that term out loosely. Oh, family, how you doing today, family? Good to see you today, family. You start really believing that, well, at least that was me. I don't know about anybody else, but I really was believing, okay, these people, they call themselves, okay, family and stuff. So I did believe that they really meant what they were saying when they said family. But you never really learn who your real family is until you go through hard times. And so during that season, when I went through, I had nerve damage, and from the waist down, I was paralyzed and was in the wheelchair. It was a big shake in my life to see that the people who I thought, which were my Christian brothers and sisters, they were nowhere to be found. But guess who came to take care of me? Guess who came to me and brought food to me when I was down and bedridden? It was unsaved people. It was Muslims. It was people that, you would say gay men and women coming to my aid, bringing me, food, water, whatever. And for me, it really shook me to my core, because I was looking at the church and I was thinking, where is the church? I was thinking, it would totally confuse me, but it was meant to shake that idea off of me that God can use anybody in your life to bless you and to be the hands and his feet in this earth. And that's why it's important for us not to look at individuals and to judge them, because you don't know their story. And so that experience literally took me to another level in my view, my worldview, and the way that I saw things. And during that time, it was really, really hard for me, because I was like, God, where is the church? They were nowhere to be found. I was missing from church for almost 3 months, and nobody ever checked on me. Nobody ever called. Nobody asked. My husband was still going to church without me. And nobody ever said, hey, how is she? How is the baby? Nothing. And so that's when I literally learned that, when people say those words, hey, family, it's not always true. And in my eyes, I always tell people, never say things you don't really mean, because sometimes people say things because it sounds good, it's cliche, and it is Christian verbiage, which I call Christianese. You're just speaking Christianese, like, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored on top and all, and knowing good and well in your personal life, you're not really living for God. You're not really doing things, and your heart is not where your mouth is. So that's the reason why I always say, just be genuine and be who you really are, and just say how you really feel. And if that's not it, then you don't have to say, hey, family, if that's not how you really feel, because most people know, they can tell when something is really from the heart. And I got to really, really see, and we were at that church, not because it was just a Black church, but it was a word church, and it was very, very strong in the word. And I really believed that the love of God was really there. I just really, really believed it. But it also made me realize that you cannot go places. And this is all for all the people that voted last week. They voted for Kamala, not because what she brings to the table, but because she was brown like them, and that was the lesson the Lord was trying to teach me. He was trying to show me, you don't run to people because you feel like they look like you, or they speak Spanish like you, or they are Asian, white like you, or whatever demographic or culture you feel like you have in common. Those are surface things, but you don't really know the heart of the person. So this is why I say go back and watch the discernment video, because it really hits on that. And then also it's important because of the outcomes that it can have, or the impact it can have on your life. And so that was the first lesson that Holy Spirit was trying to teach me, was to stop looking at things as Black or white. There's no gray areas, and you're basically looking at people and judging them and thinking, oh, well, I think that, I will do good at this place because they're Black just like me, or they speak Spanish like me, or they're this like me, or they're Asian, or they're white like me, so I feel like I would fit in. But really and truly, that's not the case, because they don't have the same heart. They may not have the same heart posture as you have, a loving heart, a caring spirit, wanting to help people and really see people do well in life and not just themselves, not having selfish intents and self motives. All those things, play into how individuals treat one another. And so that was my first shakeup where God was trying to show me. And it was, I believe he allowed it on purpose because he wanted me to see, look, they're not calling you, and you can't even move. You're paralyzed in a wheelchair and you've been gone for 3 months and nobody even cares. If you weren't there, they wouldn't say nothing. So it just really, really woke me up to say, hey, I need to start looking deeper than surface. And so that was the first, call Holy Spirit will give you, and then he'll give another opportunity. And so later on, some years later, I had forgot all about these instances because I was able to heal and the Lord was merciful to me. And I'm just so thankful that God was merciful to me those times, because literally things could have went even worse than what they were. So I thank God he restored me back to health. I was able to walk again and be restored to where I didn't have to be in a wheelchair any longer, and I could walk on my own 2 feet and return to normal life. And it really, really humbled me because I got to see how, people that are in those situations where they may be bound to wheelchairs or handicaps or things like that, what life is really like for them. So I do have a heart for people that deal with those type of things, and trying to just really be empathic and helpful towards these individuals. And so later on down the line, some years later, I ended up pregnant with my second son. And this one, I didn't realize that, I still hadn't really learned fully or accepted this lesson, but I didn't realize I was still kind of doing it. And so I went to a doctor that, because he was Black, like me, I thought, okay, this person is going to have my back. They're Black like me, and, they have good credentials, everything looked good, but I was looking at the outward appearance of the person and believing, okay, because they look like me, like you, a lot of people, like I said, voted a certain way because the person looked like them and they felt like they had some camaraderie, things like that. Well, I was doing that too in my own personal life back, when, and that decision could have cost me everything. Because I went to this doctor believing, that he had my back because he was a Black doctor, and, he was skilled, and I didn't see any, problems. I didn't really, really think twice about it, but I thought, okay, this will be a good decision, for me and, my family. And, we're very excited to welcome our second child into the world. And then, everything went smoothly, and, there weren't any real complications, but during the birth, I did notice that there were certain things that, to me didn't feel right. And I kind of just, swept them under the rug, and I just was like, well, something's not right. And then when they came to me, and mind you, this is the Black doctor, so he's supposed to have my back, okay? During the pregnancy or the birthing process, they came and offered me sleeping pills, and I knew, I was like, no, I didn't feel right about it. And I was like, how can I labor if I'm taking sleeping pills? If I fall asleep, I'm not going to be able to give birth. And they were just like, oh, it's okay, nothing wrong with taking sleeping. I said, no. Something in me said, Nile, if you take those sleeping pills, you will not be waking up after all this. So I turned the sleeping pills down, and they kind of looked a little bit upset about it. But I didn't, I was just like, well, I'm not going to take something that I don't feel comfortable with. I mean, most people, if you feel a certain way, they accept your wishes and then they, move on to the next thing. And so I declined the sleeping pills, and they looked kind of upset about that. Like they wanted me to take those things. And I was like, nope, I'm going to be alert during this entire birthing process. And I want to be awake and able to see it all, because from the first pregnancy, I was alert and everything, but because I was under medication, I wasn't able to really, experience the process. So I experienced it, but I was kind of like there, but not there. So this time I knew what I wanted, and I had, a whole plan in mind. So I turned down the sleeping pills, and then they said, okay, birth went fine. And after that, I kind of felt not trusting of this doctor after that. I mean, he was nice and everything was fine, and the baby came out normal and stuff. But then, and this is the doctor I thought had my back, because he was brown skin like me, and I thought he had my same values and everything else like that. Come to find out later on, sometime later, that I got a hold of my files, which he withheld pertinent information from me that could have cost me my pregnancy and everything else. And so basically the information that was withheld was my blood type. And so I had no idea. But previous to this pregnancy, the second pregnancy that I had, well, that would have been my fourth pregnancy, because I had two pregnancies after my first son, and those ended in miscarriages. But I had no idea that I was O negative, RH negative. And so when an RH negative individual is pregnant, they're supposed to offer you a shot to, sustain the pregnancy, because your body thinks, oh, this is an invader. And so after my first pregnancy, it was not established that I was O negative. They knew, but they didn't. They kind of kept it away from me. And I asked, and they were like, okay, well, you're O. That's just kept saying. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And so after the first pregnancy, that's when your body goes into attack mode. So like any other pregnancies that you might have. So I'm also doing this to let women know, if you're in this situation and you're RH negative, you need to make sure to go see the doctor and request the shot, because some of them will not give it to you. Like this doctor, who I thought, he's the black doctor, so that's why I'm going to him. He's the black doctor. He did not offer me the shot at 28 weeks like he was supposed to. He wrote it down that I was RHO negative, but he didn't offer me the shot. And so I believe that God stepped in and protected this child and kept the pregnancy going, because there's no, there's no other way. Like, I believe the angel stepped in and held that baby in for me, because I had already had 2 miscarriages. So this baby was like my fourth pregnancy, and finally he came through. But the fact that I'm getting at is because I thought that he was like me. We had the same values and the same belief systems, that he was going to protect my best interest. But instead, he withheld serious information that could have cost the life of my child, and could have cost me some complications as well, because miscarriages are not an easy thing on your body, and you can have lasting effects if it doesn't go well after that. So I just wanted to come in here and speak to you all and just share this story time with you to be more cautious of not looking at people for face value. Really pray and seek the Lord for who or what individuals need to be a part of your story, because not everybody is going to be on the same page as you and you really believe it, but it's not the case. And so this is something that's very, very important, especially when it comes to like choosing a doctor or somebody that needs to be in your life for a serious purpose or a reason. Always go to the Father, but then go deeper. See, like even you're looking at me right now. Who am I? Like not just the way my surface, but my heart. Like what kind of heart do I have? You know, am I loving? Am I caring? Do I try to help people when I can? You know, those are all important things. So I just really want you guys to just really start focusing on that, and then also focusing on your own individual in everything that you do. Like do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. And that's Matthew chapter 7 verse 12. And that's the basic golden rule. So, you know, if you practice that, you're always going to experience the benefits of that. And then also in Galatians chapter 6, verses 7 through 9, it says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." And so we want to be reaping good harvest. We don't want to be having things come on us from bad decisions we made or how we maybe did something to someone else. And then, like I said, see people for who they are and look past those outward things, because the very person that you think would never be a help to you or a blessing to you could be that very person. And so this time I learned my lesson. And what the enemy meant for evil, God definitely turned it around for my good. So thank you all for this story time. And I hope I didn't just talk your heads off. But I could do that for hours. I really can. I could talk for hours. But thank you all for joining me. And if you have any questions, feel free to send an email to the Breeze Prayer Network at gmail.com. And feel free to like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content of this channel. And we love to hear from you and love to have you. And if you have any questions or anything like that, or any topics you want to hear me, speak on, or question and answers, I would love to hear from you on that. So thank you again, everyone. And I enjoy spending this time with you. And I just pray that God's blessing be with you in all that you do. And as you live according to His way, that you'll see the blessings manifested in your life. So thank you again. And we'll look forward to speaking to you and seeing you again next time. Thank you.